This is CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast, with George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Sean, the CRM Hobbit Tabor. Well, fellas, we got a big episode here. Gus Gonzalez is going to join us later on, and we're going to talk about some of the things we're going to be doing at the CRMUG Summit and maybe some other fun stuff. What do we got for news this week, Sean?
Well, the biggest news we have this week is the acquisition by the Dynamics team for the ADX Studio assets, and it's an important distinction.
For those of our listeners not familiar with ADX, can you guys explain who and what ADX is and what they do?
ADX Studio creates web portals based on the Dynamics CRM platform, extending your solution to the web for partners, customers, etc. Used them a couple times. It's a pretty nice little suite.
And they're pretty much the de facto ISV portal solution. I know a lot of Microsoft partners, including Hitachi, have our own frameworks that we use internally sometimes. But as far as ISV packaged portal frameworks, ADX is pretty much the main one out there. There's a couple others that I know of, but ADX is pretty much the most well known. They also they also have some ALM tooling around lifecycle management for applications that is pretty powerful. Shan MacArthur is one of the MVPs. He has been one of the most passionate advocates of improvements to the solution framework, also just CRM in general. I think it's going to be interesting having somebody who came from an ISV who knows the pain of things like the marketplace. Somebody from that background hopefully will advocate and see some improvements in that area as well. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's a great fit.
Yeah, aren't you excited to be able to serve Shan's his own dish?
Well, and it's kind of funny because one of the blogs, that's not a blog, the Register from the UK. Their headline for the news was Microsoft eats its dynamic CRM young with ADX Studio buy.
Well, it's funny because I've been an MVP since 2008. So it was the 2008, actually 2009 Summit. It used to be at the beginning of the year, now it's at the end of the year. But anyway, every single one, Shan has advocated for polymorphic relationships, kind of like the customer lookup, being able to have a lookup that can go multiple different ways. I know polymorphism is more than that, but that's kind of the running gag. It's almost turned into a drinking game. We're all very anxious to see the polymorphic relationships that will come soon now that Shan's on board.
And it doesn't say anything about their employees coming over, ADX Studio employees, because it's really just for the assets and key product and technology assets is how it's described. There's the consulting practice is specifically pointed out that that's not part of the deal.
Yeah, so it's kind of like buying their products, and they do have a consulting team, and that's still going to be a unique entity. And it's interesting because a lot of people were confused a little bit by some of the acquisitions in the past 2-3 years that were not tied to CRM at all. We're seeing a trend, and I guess, I don't know, to me, if something happens more than once, we can call it a trend. But Field 1 and ADX are all CRM-centric things that directly address something in CRM. My question is, what does this mean for Parature? What do you think, George?
Well, honestly, when we made our bet, I would have opted for ADX Studio as an acquisition target. I just didn't think that Microsoft is going after portal solution literally, less than a year after they purchased Parature, which at some point, some people, I have to add, pitched almost as a direct competitor to ADX Studio,
right?
As a portal solution. So it was an alternative. I just didn't expect basically Microsoft to turn around and say, hey, look, Parature is Parature. It's about knowledge base. It's about search and KB management and authoring, and we are going to fold some of the functionality of Parature functionality into foundation of CRM customer care. That seems to be the trend in 2016. And then there is the whole world of external solutions, which Parature did address to some extent, but it was way too customer care centric, as opposed to providing generic framework for extendable framework, as ADX Studio does. So,
right.
To me, they overlap in products to some extent, and that's why I didn't pick ADX Studio as a target, because look, they overlap too much. It's the same in the same area. Basically, you admitting that the previous one didn't work as you expected. So I kind of, it caught me by surprise. Let's put it this way. But anyway, that's I think it's a great acquisition. It makes total sense. With the Parature, there is an overlap, but I see ADX Studio being built on CRM platform, not being an external tool. It extends CRM into area of portals, external portals, and so on. Speaking of ADX Studio, it's in .NET, it's enterprise platform, so it's going to extend really well, whilst Parature will continue strongly in customer care area. So in dealing with the case management, knowledge base, integration, search, so forth, maybe into machine learning, I'm not sure.
Right. So I think you made a great point, George, that Parature is not dead. If you look at the roadmap document, the existing Parature KB and content model is being migrated or ported to XRM inside a CRM. It's going to be entities inside a CRM. It's like we're keeping the best parts of Parature, which the strongest part is the knowledge management, but we're going with more of a general portal solution rather than something just for customer care, which I think is great.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment to say it that way, but totally makes sense. Looking forward to it. But interesting to see who's going to make it cross as Microsoft employee from the ADX team, because Microsoft did purchase the assets, but not the company itself. So let's see. Shan certainly makes sense. I know a couple other guys who would make sense to bring across with the product.
Right. With this, the other thing that I think is interesting is it shows that Microsoft is willing to plug additional gaps where existing acquisitions maybe don't fit what the market's looking for. And I would say marketing may be another area where I could see something like a Click Dimensions or something like that being a good fit, because Dynamics Marketing is strong on the asset management and accounting side of marketing, but it's weaker than Click Dimensions or these others, and it's not integrated in CRM like what a lot of our customers want. And so I can see a very strong integrated marketing solution being a good fit as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Click Dimensions or something like that acquired at some time.
So what was our original predictions?
Well, Sean, we were all wrong.
Right, but what did we say? I don't even remember what we said.
Well, George said resource management. I said Explorlogics, and you said, I don't know what you said.
Oh, good. Right, because I think I said marketing.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
If that happened, but we're all wrong because we all missed the next one.
I think it's clever that you forget mine and then magically come up with a marketing pronouncement on your own. That's what I'm thinking.
I'll go with the tooling, and I'd say that target like Kingsway Soft would be a fantastic purchase, strengthening product on the tooling side, on the integration side of things, rather than going after specific vertical or specific feature, going for the tools. So that may not happen. I'm not sure. Depends how deep the pockets are.
Sean, you said workflow configuration.
Damn.
I consulted my transcript.
Thank you.
All right. So what else do we have in the news?
The other big news is that from the team blog, we have Azure ExpressRoute is going to be available for CRM Online customers later this year. So basically, this is a way for larger customers to get a dedicated pipe, essentially, with a 99.9 SLA and high availability to their Dynamics Online instance based on Azure, obviously, and this is already available for Azure itself. But it brings an interesting wrinkle for enterprise customers who need that high availability and don't really want to deal with the service going up and down if it does. So it'll be interesting to see who all jumps on board right off the bat on this.
And so basically it's me paying for a faster connection, basically kind of I don't know if it's right to call it a pairing arrangement, but kind of a pairing arrangement with my ISP to give me a direct connection. So the people and we actually had talked about this a little bit at our customer conference a week or two ago, and it was the people that I saw that were most interested are people with big integrations, because again it's going to give you potentially a much faster integration, or people who want more privacy, because arguably a direct connection is more private than going over public internet.
So, in depending on how this pricing shakes out, since ExpressRoute is already available for Azure services, you can see on the Azure site, you can get some ideas for their unlimited data plans. Depending on your port speed, what you're looking for, it could get pretty pricey per month. If it's worth the reduction in latency, the security, and the connectivity directly to your WAN, then it's a great feature.
Absolutely, can't agree more. I mean, I would be a bit concerned. I would say 99.9. That's disappointing. I just did quick math, and 99.9 translates to about 45 minutes per month of downtime.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised they didn't have 5 nines myself.
Yeah. But to give you a perspective on how really good things can get is we are hosting CRM ourselves and partner hosted. So we have our servers in the data center. And the data center that we're hosting in happens to also host some of the AWS Amazon servers. When I go to the cages where our servers are, I can actually see Amazon servers. The side effect of that is I can get a direct pipe to Amazon, which costs like arm and a leg, right? So it's very similar to with ExpressRoute. If you go in for the bigger pipe, the more you pay. So it can get pricey.
You have a direct connection to Amazon?
No, I don't. I'm just saying that proximity to the servers makes all the difference. Even without that direct connection, which I can buy, but I don't, right? Because even without that connection, I have 2-hop connectivity to Amazon. And even without doing anything special at all, I'm enjoying something like 300 megabit, right? So effectively, it's like a LAN speed. So I can pump close to about 30 megabytes per second between, say, Amazon S3. Sorry, not S3. S3 is not specific to region. Between Amazon servers and our own servers. I just measured and say it's ridiculous speed, right? Some of my network-attached devices are slower than Amazon speeds. So that's kind of gives me indication what I can expect from ExpressRoute. And it would be great if you need to pump serious data for the integration, because latency seems to be the key. My latency, say, to Amazon, I keep comparing to Amazon, but you would get a similar feeling. So latency is something like 2 milliseconds. It's literally like sitting next door. So
George can. The thing is, George can order socks faster than anybody else out there.
Exactly. Well, he has 15 of those Alexa tubes, all about his house. So he has someone to constantly talk to. So,
Let's talk about the 2016 feature. Like last week, we were wanting to dig into one new feature a week, and the one that has my eye this week is the Outlook app. For those of you that don't know, there was a new Outlook app released in the 2015 update 1 in preview mode, and it's not an Outlook application like the Outlook client. This is a Office 365 Outlook app that lives inside of your Office 365 account. And so when you go into Outlook Web Access or Outlook, you see a dynamic CRM link. It's very limited right now. It's very slow right now, but it shows some potential. And the one place where I want to use it but can't right now is on my phone. That's where I think it makes a lot of sense. Where I get an email, I want to track it. That's where I think it makes a lot of sense. On my computer, I can run the Outlook client if I want to track something, but on a phone, I want a quick way to track. And currently, other than the folder sync, there isn't currently a way to do that. So I think that's good, but it's also expanding. It's almost like having the mobile client, the Mocha client, built into Outlook Web Access. So if you go there right now, you'll see there's like the search and the tiles and things like that. And the direction it's going is you're going to be able to create more types of records with it. It's going to turn into a very fully featured portal to Microsoft CRM, basically inside your Outlook Web Access, whether it's on the Outlook app on your phone, tablet, whatever. And that's where I think it really shows promise. And I was kind of disappointed, actually, because I was on my phone and I wanted to track something the other day, and I said, well, I'll just pull up the OA app because I know I've got the dynamic CRM Outlook app in there, and it wasn't there. And I even pulled up OA in my browser and requested the desktop version, and even so, I did not have the dynamic CRM link. So I'm excited to see that is coming to coming to mobile.
I leave mobile phones to what they do best, and that is placing calls and sending SMS messages. So that's my primary function of the mobile phones.
Well, okay. Here's a scenario. Let's say you get an email on your phone, and a client emails you. They don't email your support queue, and it's an urgent issue. Wouldn't it be great, and this is a scenario you're going to be able to do, to hit the dynamic CRM link on that email and create a case from it right there? Something like that I see a lot of potential for, rather than when I get back to my office or when I get to my house or when I get in front of my computer, I have to remember to do this.
Wouldn't it be better to say, hey, Cortana, create a case?
Sure, you could if you have a Windows phone. George, are you a Windows phone guy?
If you remember her name, that's the key, right? If you remember girl's name, then you can create a case. Now, my girl is Siri, so.
But Siri can't create cases.
Well, and even if she could, if you're let's say you're a banker and you're in a cab, you don't want to say out loud the things you want to create because it could be sensitive information, as an example.
Yes.
So having something like an ability to track something or create a case in CRM from your phone is incredibly valuable.
Right. Say you're on jury duty and you have to create a case. You can't start saying, Siri, create a case, because the judge will hold you in contempt and put you in jail or something. So you need the ability to do this. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying the ability to do that, or I get an email from somebody, my customer has a new project manager. He emails me or she emails me, and I need to create her record in CRM. The sooner I can do that from wherever I am, the more likely it is that I will remember to do it, versus saying I have to wait.
It's interesting that you said about doing things there and then. I was just thinking about the same. This morning I had to do something and I had to take a note to remember do later on something else, and it's just my notes, my little to-do list for today kept growing inside the workflow. So I just kept making notes, and I was thinking about the same. Wouldn't it be better some of these items just do them when you remember? Say, hey, look, I remember I need to book the hotel room for the conference, for the upcoming conference, and instead of actually remembering doing that and then going ahead and doing that in the evening, just say, yeah, let's do it now. So if you could do, the more you can do now very quickly and without effort, the less you have to remember to do later on. So I'm totally with you in terms of like, if someone emails me, I understand the situation when someone emails me and I want to create their records in CRM, and instead of remembering to do that later on, you just say, just do it now and forget about it. That would be great, definitely.
Right. And again, I don't know the full extent of what all records you're going to be able to create, but I know there's a number of records, and especially if we get to where we can create custom entity records with it and things like that, that's where I see a lot of power and extensibility with it. So George, what's your tool of the fortnight?
Today I decided to go for a change with CRM tool, because before I discussed tools which are productivity tools in general, would it be individual tool boosting your own productivity, or team tool like Slack boosting your team communications and so forth, but they were just generic tools. Today I opted for the tool. It's kind of every developer, and I'm stressing that, so every developer needs to have. It's called CRM Solution Manager. It's it's Visual Studio add-in.
Okay.
So you purchase, you get it delivered as a VisX file, which you install into Visual Studio, and it supports Visual Studio, I think, from 13 on, so 13, 15. It supports all, so 12, 13, 15, any release of Visual Studio. It connects to your CRM and multiple versions. It manages your resources, manages deployments of your plugins and configuration of your plugins. It's really indispensable tool if you are a developer.
And from what I'm not a developer, but what I understand is it breaks your solutions down to their individual components. Is that right? Like your plugins, your workflows, and things like that.
Correct. So you can basically easily commit them into your source control, and it keeps things synchronized. It adds for the JavaScript, on the fly, it adds IntelliSense to all your JavaScript for forms. So it's really powerful tool. I got attached to it for the plugin development, so it's really sped up. When I tried it, it sped up my development cycle like tenfold, because one of the pains associated with the plugin developments, it's deployment. So when you do the change and you deploy, I think I even have a post somewhere. I don't remember. I don't think it's on Tip of the Day. I think it's on my private blog, but whatever. I have a GIF file demonstrating the speed of deployment with CRM Solution Manager. So you just right mouse click, build and deploy, and it takes like a split second, and your change is built and deployed into your CRM. So it shortens the development cycle like there is no tomorrow. It's a great tool. It's a great investment. It's a paid tool. So, but on my team, every single developer has this tool. So it's like a must-have.
So okay, so what solutions do you use that for versus just doing a solution through CRM? Do you use it for all your solutions that you develop for your customers, or there's a certain threshold that you'll use that versus just plugin registration tool and things like that?
Whenever solution calls for code extensibility,
okay,
like plugins or workflow extensions, definitely CRM Solution Manager comes into play. Or whenever I need to manage resources, web resources, that definitely then CRM Solution Manager has advantages in making it very easy to manage multiple resources and multiple folders and publishing it swiftly and easily. So I just
and where do you get the Solution Manager from?
I think it's CRMSolutionManager.com.
Yeah, that's it. CRM Solution Manager.
SolutionManager.com. And I have to make my own disclaimer that I do have my own version of the tool that I received for free. I did end up purchasing more copies for my team, and we're not getting any kickbacks for promoting this tool. So it's pure love of the tool. Yeah, so.
All right, well, let's bring our special guest in. This week's special guest is Gus Gonzalez. Gus is with Elevate Solutions. Gus is an MVP. He is an extraordinary trainer. Welcome, Gus.
Hey, thank you, guys.
How you doing?
Here, good. Everything's good.
Are you in Atlanta today?
No, I'm actually in Colorado this week, doing some work and. Beautiful place. I've never been in Colorado before.
We're getting excited for the CRMUG Summit next week in Reno, Tahoe. So give our listeners kind of a sneak peek of what you're going to be talking about.
So yeah, I mean, like every year, I try to go to the CRMUG Summit. It gives us an opportunity to work with users who are having real questions and real problems and real success out there with CRM, and you get to see people from all versions. So I'm really excited this year. I have a few sessions. I'm doing 3 solo sessions, one each day, the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th. And the session on the 14th is Becoming a Good Security Shepherd. We really wanted to have a session about best practices and just the things that us as MVPs and experts go through every time we do a project, just those things that, that are small things but can prevent big, problems in the future. So we want to talk about for about an hour or so, or an hour and a half, really. This is a deep dive session where we talk about security and the use of business units, security roles, teams, even some of the new stuff, hierarchical security, sharing, access teams, all of that. So it's going to be an interesting one. A lot of people asking about best practices. Just I don't want to learn how it works. I know how it works, but I want to know how you guys use it. So it's going to be really good.
What's the biggest security mistake you see people make with CRM?
Letting people delete stuff. I think leaving the delete role available. And there are ways to get around that. I've learned a lot from other MVPs. For example, Adam from the UK is I consider probably the best security expert that we have when it comes to roles and setting up security. We share a lot of the same best practices as well. And Adam had some really good ideas about working with organizations. I fortunately haven't found that much opposition when it comes to security best practices. They sort of go with whatever we suggest, but right. He's had some trouble in the past working with companies that they want to allow people to delete stuff. So he has some really good ideas about using relationship behaviors to prevent that. In other words, things like preventing delete if there are child records underneath, and then you don't give the same person trying to delete a parent record delete permissions on the child record. So they would have to contact someone else to get the child records deleted before they can delete the parent record. So putting a lot of hoops that you have to jump through so mistakes don't happen. So I think that's the biggest mistake, but and the other one is just overdoing it, right? You go to this smaller companies that have 15 users and they have 18 security roles,
right,
why?
Right. Yeah, that's what I always think about is whenever anybody wants to over-engineer the security, you always know in the back of your mind, you're not going to remember how to maintain this, and it's all going to fall apart. And then you'll just open the door and it'll be a free-for-all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Seems like every project people want to restrict the activate deactivate permission, but since that's not split out, it's really hard to do that. I mean, you can hide the buttons and stuff, but then nobody can activate and deactivate.
That's right. Yeah, and that comes up often. I mean, I normally just talk about the fact that since we're removing delete, this at least gives people the option to be able to get something out of the view without removing it out of the database. But anyway, this is the kind of conversation we're going to have on that session. It's going to be on the 14th at 4:30 p.m., so closing the day. Hopefully it will be a good and fun session to wrap up the day, the first day of the summit. And obviously, if one of you guys are there and wants to join me, I want to make this more of a panel where we're all just talking about best practice.
And that's
good.
Wednesday at 4:30?
That's right, 4:30 p.m.
I'm sure I'll try to join you if we're not delivering a competing session at the same time, then I'll try to join you. Definitely. Speaking of deactivate and delete, have you actually tried? I just thought of a nice deceptive approach of renaming deactivate button into delete and removing delete button. So they think they deleted, but actually they don't.
No, I've never come to that. I think every time that you bring up the repercussions of deleting stuff, especially on CRM Online, which is the vast majority of the projects I do, people get really scared. So, and I've seen it in the past, even when you remove it, when some administrators have deleted data by mistake. I can always go back and throw some examples of the things that happened back then. They're like, you know what? Let's get rid of delete.
Did you ever have a requirement implement? I had this requirement about a month ago. One of the customers asked for it explicitly. They said, in SharePoint we've got a trash bin. We want to have a trash bin in our CRM.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. And there are people that go beyond that. They give you good ideas, especially customers that have been using CRM Online for a long time. They say, why on the Office 365 admin portal can we have like you said, a trash bin where I can go and see all the data that has been removed, and I can decide whether I want to get rid of it or I want to push it back into CRM, or even if it has an expiration date where things can sit on the trash bin for 30 days and then get removed if you don't do anything, but at least have some sort of mechanism to prevent people from wiping out all the data. But that comes up all the time. It's never been a hard request. It's more of a suggestion, I guess.
There's a solution on CodePlex that I've never tried, but I've seen, called the Dynamic CRM Recycle Bin. It's got like 5 stars, so I don't know if it's any good or not. But
yeah, it's better than not having something. The main thing with those solutions, and that's not the only one, I've seen some of the other ones before, is that they depend on audit data, which means that if you don't have audit enable, or if you're not auditing the right fields or something like that, then you're not going to be able to recover everything. And so, for example, if you're auditing accounts, but accounts are related to a custom entity that you're not auditing, if you delete the account and that deletes exactly.
Or if you import one of the ISV solutions that turn the audit off.
Right. So it's better than nothing. It's helped me in the past save some information. It's better than nothing, but I wouldn't call it 100%, foolproof or anything.
So what other sessions you got, Gus?
Yeah, the other sessions I have, or the next day, I guess, on the 15th, I have another one related to security, and this one is called Extra Armor for Securing Your CRM System. This is mainly it's a 1-hour session, and it's just about the new things that Microsoft has introduced in the realm of security with CRM 2015 or 13, like the latest couple of versions. So a whole lot of people know that hierarchical security was introduced, but they don't use it, right? And I personally stick still with the common business units team and security roles. So I feel that these new security things or features that have been introduced are being underutilized because people don't really see the benefits of them. So that's what this session is about. It's just about access teams, hierarchical security, just the non-traditional security of CRM.
I see access teams used somewhat regularly now. They weren't at first. I think people were scared of them until we found out all the nooks and crannies and limitations. Now if we know something is a good fit for access teams, we're using them, but sometimes we're using them in combination with other stuff. I just saw hierarchical security used at the first actual project, and it worked really well. The thing I found it worked well for was we had a scenario where one group, the managers needed to have access to their people's stuff, the other groups didn't. So using the position stuff, I think there is a great way to apply it to certain groups and not to others, where the manager thing just applies to everybody.
Exactly, and that's one thing that I really like about it. Sometimes you go into these projects where they say, look, I don't care who manages whom, but VPs should be able to see X data, right? That kind of thing. So you can use that positioning based on the role, basically, where, if you have this role, you can see this data, regardless of who you manage, regardless of what team, kind of thing. So,
and what time is that session?
That will be at 2 p.m. on the 15th.
Yeah, you can go to that if you want, but that does conflict with my going online from on-premise sessions, so I don't know about that.
I think Gus made it a habit to coincide with one of our sessions. I just checked that on Wednesday, October 14th, it's the same time slot as my session that I jointly deliver with Jason Latimer and David Barry, and we're talking about development for CRM without .NET. So if you...
Is that the .NET session?
Correct, yes. It's our organization is called Saying Yet to .NET. Yeah, so it's at the same, but it's purely development, like it doesn't overlap. So if you go into our session, most likely you're a developer
exactly.
with specific
interest. I learn best practices about security,
Yeah,
it's you're not gonna have it.
All right, so what you got on Friday?
Friday I have something called a deployment method of choice, and that's gonna be the first session in the morning at 8 a.m. So I don't know how many people will be on that, but what we're gonna be talking about in that session is. Yeah, everyone, it's going to basically discuss the different options that we have to deploy CRM. So online, on-premise, and partner-hosted. So I want to talk about the pros and cons of each one, answer some questions about differences between them. It's just basically a session about all the different ways to deploy CRM, including Azure, including whatever technologies are out there to support the implementation of CRM is what the session is about. And another one that I invite you, but I'm sure you have some other boring session conflicting with mine.
Incidentally, no. I'm surprised we don't. It's a chock-a-block of a day with 3 sessions for me, but no, we don't. So that's great. Gus, are you donning a medical robe and doing some CRM Medics stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have my rope. I'll have it with me, and we'll be there helping people. I think last year it was sort of a silly idea that CRMUG came up with, but people really enjoyed it, stopping by and asking questions. So I also like the fact that a lot of the people who are out there who help a lot and are probably not identified easily because they don't have an MVP like us, or they're not out there doing as many sessions and being as public, we're there willing to put the rope and answer some questions. So I really like that, and I encourage people to do that. If you're an expert out there and want to help out, just come on board. They'll have a rope, and you can be a medic with us.
And we'll all be in some of the Ask the Expert sessions as well. And I should mention for our listeners that 1 o'clock on Friday, George and I have our CRM Tip of the Day sessions, kind of like the United Nations of CRMUG sessions.
We actually have, let me see, we already have nearly 40 people booked.
Wow, and that's like the end of the conference, right?
That's before conference even started, and that's one of the last sessions of the conference. Yeah, so looking forward to it.
Right. So, Gus, awesome. We really appreciate you coming, but before you go, I wanted to ask you if you wouldn't mind recording a promo for us in Spanish. We want to increase our listenership and reach out to some of the Spanish-speaking people out there. Would you mind recording a promo for us?
No, not at all. It's the least I can do. You guys are awesome. Señoras y señores de habla hispana que sufren de insomnio, les presento la solución perfecta para sus problemas, CRM.audio, un programa que cada semana presenta a la cuerda de mequetrefes de Joel, George y Sean. Su descanso está garantizado, ya que ha sido comprobado científicamente que este programa es más aburrido que escuchar un juego de ajedrez por la radio. Dulce sueño les desea el equipo de CRM.audio. There you go.
So you said we were all awesome and we're the experts at CRM and all that good stuff I told you to tell them?
Of course.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We'll get that to the
Fantastic.
translators.
Why every time I listen to a promo in Spanish, in the end it feels like I'm at a soccer match and it's just about to say blah 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 goal. Regardless what the subject is, you know.
And why is it that every time I heard punto, I kept thinking you were talking about me? I don't know why.
I don't know why. It means dot. So
yeah, I know. Little thing.
yeah. No, I'm sure with this promotion, people are gonna definitely listen, and I hope that the listenership grows in Latin America, and that's the least I can do to help out.
All right. Well, Gus, where can people get a hold of you if they want to follow you or follow you on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best way to do that is just follow me on Twitter at Gus Gonzalez 2, Gonzalez with Z's. I know there's Gonzalez with an S at the end. You can always visit our website, elevatesolutions.com, elevate spelled with ELEV number 8, solutions.com. Follow us. I don't post a lot of, sort of news about update roll-ups that are released and things like that. I try to stick with topics like the ones that we're going to discuss over at CRMUG Summit, talking about best practices. And I also like to share a lot of the stuff that people like you guys do that I consider is really good. So feel free to follow me and get some information that way.
All right. Well, George, Sean, I think that was that wraps up a good episode here.
Now, did he really say what he said in Spanish, though?
I have no clue. I don't understand a word of Spanish.
I heard audio, I heard CRM, and I heard something about me being incredibly attractive, I think.
Well, we'll know when our Spanish-speaking audience increases fourfold.
Exactly.
Well, then I can do same promo for Eastern Europe audience.
There you go. Hey, and George, can I ask a question about your session at CRMUG? Is there like a subtitle, say, kind of like saying it's puntastic? The whole
which one?
Say niet to .net?
No, it doesn't have any subtitles.
Well, there you go. You can use that. It's puntastic.
Fantastic.
Well, I plan on bringing my microphone to the CRMUG Summit. Hopefully we can rope a lot of interesting people into having man-on-the-street interviews. And if you go to CRMUGSummit.com, you'll see CRMUG Summit October 13th through 16th, Reno, Nevada. And so I believe you can register even up to the event. But it's a great conference, and there's a ton of speakers, a ton of sessions. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, to me, it's all the conferences make total sense. Because you have Convergence, which is a business and partner conference, a huge one. Mm-hmm. And then you have Extreme CRM, which is coming later this year, which is about ISV and development. And then you have CRMUG, which is really about users. Mm-hmm. End users, people who use CRM day in, day out. It's about partners and users. So it's a great, different perspective looking at CRM.
This has been CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast. You can hear previous episodes on our website, crm.audio. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CRM podcast. If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you would like for us to answer on a future episode, please drop us an email at voice@crm.audio. Special thanks to Dale Simmons for our theme music. Go check out his website, dalesimmons.com. Please join us next time on CRM Audio.